Hello, everyone. This is MC Deck Discussions, and I'm Abi Small. And today I was inspired to do this particular video by Winning Hand, episode 71, Give 'em Some Sugar. And it's a video that's focused on rogues. For those who may not know, each episode they focus on one card at a time. So it was on rogue. This isn't about that. I just wanted to start here so you knew what episode this was coming from. Although this inspired me to build a deck as well using the Rogue Ally, so I'll be having another video that kind of follows up on this as well when I show off that deck. What inspired this particular video today is this other part of this video where they went over Pub Meeple. Right, so here's Pub Meeple, and I'm going to be showing you what I did on Pub Meeple. So let me talk about that real quickly, about what they did. So what they did was they looked at some community rankings. So if that were done using Pub Meeple. So they showed the results of like community ranking all of the current 61 heroes, and they went over the top 10 of those, or I should say they did some things on that. I could let you watch that to find out what that was about. But then afterwards they showed off their own rankings and talked about their top 10 and their bottom 10. So I thought I'd go ahead and do a video that does the same thing, where I went ahead and went on Pub Meeple, and I will go ahead and talk about my top 10 and bottom 10. But it just so happens, I had forgotten I did this, back in 2023, like March of 2023, I also had done this back then when there were only 42 heroes. And although 43, for some reason, funny enough, this episode here was about Rogue. And Rogue is the one that's missing, even though it should have been in my list. So maybe I hadn't played Rogue yet, or just didn't notice they weren't on there. But in any case, it's 42 heroes, for some reason missing Rogue from that time in 2023. So what I thought I'd do actually is show a comparison of the two. So first, let me go ahead and show you here. Okay, so this is my list of 60 on the 61. And then over here, I'll go ahead and go to my list of 42. And the reason I thought this would be interesting is because my lists are very different, and not just because we had a lot of new heroes, right? A good almost 20 new heroes since then. And so those will be mixed in here as well. But also I have a lot of differences in, what I like best. So just to clarify, these are my favorite heroes to play, not not what I consider to be the most powerful. All right. And then the other thing I wanted to show you was if you look at the Hall of Heroes, you can see here the Marvel Champions release dates. So this is where I had gone to kind of see what heroes it was up through. And so if I go down to 2023 and then scroll down a bit, you can see that in February we had Gambit and Rogue. So I noticed that I had up through Gambit on my list from 2023, but for some reason Rogue, it was not on my list. So again, either I didn't play them, or maybe they didn't have it uploaded to Pub Meeple at the time. I'm not sure. But in any case, let's go ahead and check those two lists out. So I'm going to start with the actually older list so you can really see the difference between these top 10. So notice I have Doctor Strange, Spider-Woman, Gamora, Ghost Spider, Spider, SPDR, Vision, Ironheart, Quicksilver, and Spectrum, and finally Black Widow. So those were my top 10 back then. And then if you look at my bottom 10, this bottom 10 might really surprise you. Okay, so let's see, if 42 is the bottom, so that should be 33 at the top. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, so at the bottom, and I'll start from the very bottom, and we'll go up to 33 here, right? So I have Valkyrie. That part isn't a surprise, but it probably surprised a lot of you that I had Star-Lord so low back then. I had no idea how to run Star-Lord, although Star-Lord is still kind of lower on the list now, but I just couldn't win with Star-Lord back then. Nova, Colossus, Cyclops, and I know some of these are very much some people's favorites. So I'm sure this is a shock to a lot of you. But back then, I was a very different player. And then War Machine, Rocket Raccoon, Scarlet Witch, Iron Man, and finally Wolverine, right? So I'm sure, like I said, I'm sure this is a real shock to a lot of people. Notice who we don't see down here, right? So at that time, we don't have Hulk, right? Hulk I have all the way up here at 24, right? So that's amazing. That's definitely going to be a difference in this list. So those were the top 10 and bottom 10, okay? So again, top 10, because I'm now going to go to my current top 10, at least according to Pub Meeple. I'd have to say, if I were to actually rank them, I would change the order of some of these. You'll probably find the same thing if you use this as well. By the way, I thought I'd mention, I'll go ahead and link this episode 71 from Winning Hand. And by the way, the hosts are Boom Guy and Lazy Titan. So I think if you haven't watched that episode, I highly recommend it. And then, so I'll link that in the description of this video as well as my couple of rankings here. Okay. All right. So again, these top 10 were Doctor Strange, Spider-Woman, Gamora, Ghost Spider, Vision, Ironheart, Quicksilver, Spectrum, and Black Widow. All right, so let's look at how different my list is now, okay? And we'll see how many of them are brand new since then, and how many of them are just, how many of them have just changed significantly. Okay? So now my top 10, Magic and Psylocke. So those are brand new ones since then. Well, hold on a sec. Okay, so I just double checked, yes. So Magic and Psylocke were both brand new since then. And notice how, right, numbers 1 and 2. And I actually, the truth is, in my mind, Psylocke is higher than Magic. Then Wasp. Wasp used to be very much lower on my list. So now much higher. Cable. So again, that's another brand new one since, so look at that. 3 of the 4 are my top ones of ones that were released after those first 42. Spider-Man Peter Parker, that's a big jump for him. He used to be much lower for me. Silk, one of our most recent releases. Captain Marvel. Captain Marvel also went up a lot for me since 2023. I just got much better at playing her. Spider is still pretty high up here at 8. Spider-Woman still very high for me. And I actually think Spider-Woman is higher for me than Spider. And then Magneto, another new one since those first 42. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4 of these top 10 now are basically brand new ones since that release. So that shows you how strong the new ones have been for me in particular, for as far as the type of decks they play. All right, now let's look at the bottom 10. So I'm going to go to the bottom 10 here. And then let's look at the bottom 10 here again so we can compare them more directly, right? So Valkyrie, again, notice Hulk totally missing from this list. Valkyrie, Star-Lord, Nova, Colossus, Cyclops, War Machine, Rocket Raccoon, Scarlet Witch, Iron Man, and Wolverine. Now, the thing I want to mention about this list is back then in 2023, these bottom ones I did not like to play. Like, I absolutely did not like to play these cards. These heroes. That's very different than now. There's only one hero I don't really like playing anymore. So even though these are the bottom 10 back then, these are bottom 10 that I mostly didn't like playing, including Wolverine, like all the way up through here. Although Iron Man, I think, is misplaced. I think I was starting to like Iron Man a little bit by that time, but I really didn't like playing all the way up through Thor. Right? So who would have been the 11th lowest back then? So I didn't like playing any of those heroes back then. And now this is the only one I don't like playing. I actually enjoy playing all of those. So even though I'm going to have cards much lower ranks than these, right? Because the number is going to go up to 61. I like the heroes more, all of these heroes, way more than I liked back then. Okay. So including, I really like Hulk now, but only with that added card. So for those who haven't seen my videos on Hulk, Hulk I now have a permanent a few of us developed on Discord. That has been a permanent upgrade that's been added, and now I actually really enjoy playing him. So even though he's my second lowest here, the truth is, in my mind, he's above War Machine and Star Lord and Drax and Thor now and Deadpool. So like, I'm not sure why he's quite this low, but I actually really like Hulk quite a bit, and I do enjoy playing all of these other heroes too, right? So the lists are very different in my mind, because these least favorite ones are still decks I really like playing, are still heroes I really like playing. But in any case, let's go ahead and go over those real quickly. So Valkyrie, like I said, that's really the only one I don't like playing, but maybe that'll change in the future. So we'll see. Hulk, War Machine, but also keep in mind, I'm a solo player. I think Valkyrie is a great multiplayer card, but I don't play multiplayer. So, Valkyrie, if I played multiplayer, I'm sure Valkyrie would actually, if not be higher, at least be more liked by me. Okay. So Hulk, Valkyrie, Hulk, War Machine, Star-Lord, Drax, Thor, Deadpool, Colossus, Gambit, and Nova. So they're my bottom 10. And notice Nova's still within that bottom 10 and was in the bottom 10 before. I believe Colossus was too. Yeah, Colossus was too. So in my mind, even though, like I said, these are even lower than before, I actually like them a lot more than I did back then. Okay, so in any case, I highly recommend people give this a try. You'll see if you go back to this episode 71 from Winning Hand, then you will see in their description that they do have the link to the community rankings, and I'd rather have you go to theirs, and in case you haven't watched them. So even though it would be convenient for me to put this on my list, I'm not going to, because I want to encourage you to go see this video, or at least parts of it that you would find most interesting, right? That you can see they do a good job of bookmarking the chapters here. So I think that's a great way to look for exactly what you would want to watch, although I thought the entire discussion was awesome. All right, so that's it for the video. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Have a good one, everybody.